Okay.
Oh, there he
Hey,
is.
y'all.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are y'all
How are
doing?
you? We're good.
Doing well.
We're good.
Well,
Good.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I apologize for being in the car. This is not usually where I am when we do these, but today is one of those days that grateful for the virtual opportunity and able to do what you need to do when you need to do it at this point. So that's where I am. But I am Rubye Kendrick. I am co-president
Absolutely.
of the Tyler Smith County League of Women Voters. And again, we're very excited about you being with us. Our series of coffee with elected officials is what this is all about. We have been doing these sessions now for, oh my, at least a year and a half. Is that about the correct length of time, Marilyn? I
think
realize
so.
it's,
I think
yeah,
so.
okay. And we just actually completed interviews with Tyler City Council and Mayor, and we wanted to start out 2022 with the TISD board and specifically have you as our first guest. So, and again, our intention is to just allow people in Smith County to meet you, understand your role with the school board, and really get to know how the school board activities impact the city of Tyler. And certainly the mission of the League of Women Voters is to educate the citizens of the community about how their government works and the roles and responsibilities of all of our elected officials in government and the school district. So I'll let, we have Marilyn Wills here today and Dee Pendleton. I'll let them introduce themselves to you.
Okay. Shall we call you Wade or Mr. Washmon or President, or we can't hear you? I think you're mute there.
I lost. I'm back now, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Now,
Just call Wade. That's
okay. Well, thank you for that. And I'm Marilyn Wills, and I'm co-president with Rubye of the Tyler League of Women Voters. And we do appreciate you being here today. We know you have a busy schedule.
Thank you.
And I'm going to start off with the first question. These have been compiled by various people in the community. So clearly there's some interest in some of the things that you're doing, as there would be. So the first question, maybe not the easiest, but what do you see as the largest issues that will impact the TISD students in the next 5 years? And what actions would the school board be taking to address those issues?
Yes, ma'am. I do think that the growth thing we definitely want to keep our eye on as our population continues to grow. We need to that we have the
You're kind of
preparation.
cutting out for some reason.
Okay. Hold on. Let me move. I'm going to move real quick, and you tell me if it's a little better. I'm going to move into my closer to my router, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to make sure everybody hears your answers. So
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to go sit down on the couch here in the in the office lobby, away from my comfy computer. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Is it better?
That's better.
Well, good. So I think the growth of Tyler is something that we really need to keep our eye on. We've grown immensely, tremendously in the last 10 years, and it looks like we just continue to grow. One thing that we do, and we have done, thanks to the voters of Tyler, is essentially rebuilt our entire district, really over the last 20 years. But and so we want to make sure we have room and adequate facilities for all the kids that are coming in. And that's one thing to keep an eye on. And another really big issue that I think, we are not alone in facing is just the achievement gap that we have. You look across the state and everybody's dealing with, and COVID just really accelerated that. And some of our students that may be more at risk aren't achieving as some of the ones that aren't. And so that's one thing that we're really striving to make an impact on. And so in order to do that, we've essentially changed up our entire org chart. We came up with a plan for a number of schools that are in an area with high risk students, and we have dedicated somebody to be completely over those schools. And we have teacher incentive programs to get our best teachers into those positions. And because we need every kid in Tyler ISD to do well. And so I think in the next 5 years, getting over the impact that COVID's had, especially on the achievement gap, and just keeping an eye on the population and making sure we're adequately staffed and have good buildings to handle all that growth.
So did you get any of the COVID money injected into our school system?
Yes, ma'am. We sure did. They call them ESSER funds, and it's ESSR, and they came in 3 different waves. And believe it or not, Tyler ISD, we got about $40 million of that. And we have, and a lot of it has gone to personnel, obviously, and a lot of it went to doing what we could facility-wise to that. There were, and I might be all over the map here, but there were only very specific things you could use those funds for. So we've had to find those, implement them. And a lot of them have gone to what I was just talking about, really focusing on good instruction in areas, in very targeted areas. So we're hoping to see benefits from that as we move forward.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, wait, this is Dee Pendleton. I think I'm next. I will introduce myself. I am a good friend and partner of the League of Women Voters, hopefully soon to be a member. I am the immediate past president of the Tyler alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and I sit on the advisory boards for the Texas African American Museum and the Heart Association.
Okay.
So I have the pleasure of asking you the second question.
Sure.
So if I'm a parent that wants to see change happen at my child's school, what do you think the best avenue is to pursue? Contacting my school's PTA, contacting my school's administration, contacting my school board representative, contacting all the school board members, or something else?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with keeping it at the school level. Specifically, we always want to start there first. So if it's a teacher issue, we start with the teacher. And you aim small so you can really, hone in on what the issue is. And then if you need to bring the principal into it, that's what we want to do next. And hopefully you can get it figured out on that campus. And it might mean getting some other parents involved and polling the other parents to make sure you're just not alone on that issue. And then, we're always happy to hear from people. But, we work at about a 30,000 foot view on the school board. We've got one employee, and that's Superintendent Marty Crawford. And he is the CEO, and it is his job to carry out our vision and work with us there. And so as far as specific school issues go, I really do think the keeping it at the school level is the best thing to do. And usually we can get it worked out, and there is a plan and a process in place. If you're not getting the answers to kind of work it up that chain. So, but we're always happy to hear from people. So and we like to know what's going on as well.
Thank you for that. That's good information to know. I'm sure a lot of parents may have concerns and wonder how they should, proceed. So that's good information. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
We can't hear you, Rubye.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Next question. School board elected positions are nonpartisan. And what does that mean to you, both in your role as a school board member and in your role as a community leader?
Well, I am so thankful for that. I think when you bring politics into the school business, it really cheapens what we do to impact kids. I'm not a political type of person by nature. I think politics are inherently divisive. So once we enter that and inject that into school business, all of a sudden, you start off on maybe a divided foot. So I think I celebrate the uniqueness that that people have, and individuality that people have, and I feel like that's something we should celebrate across the district with every student. And so I'm so thankful that I don't have to, affiliate with some political party. And that way I can be me, just like I want students to be them, and we can keep it local, and we can focus on, what's going on in Tyler ISD, not necessarily maybe some national issues that get thrown on our doorstep, which has happened, and I'm sure will continue to happen. But by nature, I'm really a relationship and a local type of person, and so I'm I'm really glad that we don't have to complicate things even more by affiliating with a political party. So,
do you feel like the rest of the TISD board feels about the same way that you do?
No, I mean, I sure do hope so, and I really do think that we do, especially when we're on the dais. Gosh, I've been on the board now for almost, well, this is my 9th year. And we've had some really good board members and been able to keep things civil, and keep our business about Tyler ISD for the most part. And it has been hard at times, y'all know.
Yeah.
We've faced some pretty big issues.
Yes,
but it never really got about the politics in the boardroom. So yeah, I'm thankful for that, and I believe in our board, and they're good people, and I appreciate every single one of them.
Okay, well, we're going to go next to the question about the STAR test.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, some of the people who might view this might not even understand what the STAR test is. So if you could explain that a little bit.
Sure.
And then talk about how the disruptions in the last 2 years have changed how you actually evaluate teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And then another part of that question would be, how does your board evaluate itself? So if you could address those questions.
Yeah. So the STAR test, it's a Texas state assessment, and it happens yearly on several different subject matters in several different grades. So it is a 1 day of year type of test, and it's important to us that we prepare and do well for it. But 2 years ago, when 2020, Texas waived it, nobody took it. Last year, we actually opted in, and in Tyler, Texas, we took the STAR test, and we prepared for it. And although the state, not everybody in the state did that, and therefore you really couldn't get comparisons with your peers in the rest of the state. However, from who did take it, we outperformed a lot of our peer districts that look the same as us. in every subject. I think there was one where we didn't, which was 7th grade math, so we handled it very well. And we're successful in our eyes in the STAR test in 2021. Now, thankfully, for the last 6 years, we've had, as far as gauging how we're doing and evaluating our teachers and everything like that, we have internal evaluations that we do on a regular basis throughout the school year. And that hasn't changed, and it didn't stop even with COVID. So, and we have internal data that we process to see how we're going to stack up and how it looks like we're going to stack up for the STAR test when it comes, so we can be ready and know where we need to adjust and know where students need to improve on an individual basis. So, and as far as how we evaluate ourselves as a board, man, COVID has been a roller coaster. And I think not only do you want to look at the data, but you also got to remember that data is going to look different than in years past. And so we just have to make sure we're doing what's best for the students in Tyler, and with the understanding of just getting kids in school was a big deal.
Yeah.
In those years. And we did it. We were the largest district in the state to get kids back as soon as we did. So I'm proud of that. And the virtual component, it wasn't working for a lot of kids who needed to be learning. And so we got them back in, and it looks like the numbers are good in Tyler ISD, even in those years. So I'm proud of that.
Well, it sounds like you've been doing a lot of making a lot of good decisions, but is there any formal mechanism in place to evaluate the board? Is there anything that is done?
That we let's see, I think it was 4 years ago, we came up with we kind of reevaluated how we were doing things at a board level, at a governance level. And one of those is an internal kind of board evaluation. We have goals, and of course you set these goals, and then COVID happens, and it kind of, you got to adjust. So there is an internal mechanism that we have, and we do on a yearly basis, but there's 7 of us, and so with depending on the day and depending on what we're evaluating, it's kind of loose, I guess, as far as how you evaluate yourselves, because every year a board member could be changing. So
and also probably the school district's annual report reflects some of the board's decisions, so that would be kind of an evaluation of how well you've been managing things.
We try, and then there's the, as a board, you're always going to be scrutinized. We're dealing with the children of our district, and there's nothing more important to a parent and their child. And so depending on the issues that come up, you've got scrutiny, and we just want to do what's best for every kid in Tyler ISD. And yes, every year we come out with a report, we come out with a state of the district, and we can kind of show the community what we've been doing, maybe aside from what they've been hearing in the news, wherever.
Okay, that's very thorough response. Thank you for that.
Sure.
All right, you're on a roll. Let's keep it going. All right, what kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are happening across the district?
I'm glad you asked that. I grew up here, right? I grew up on the east side of town, over by Golden Road Park. And I'm a public school kid. I went to Clarkston, and then Moore, and then Lee after that. And one thing I'm so proud of in Tyler ISD is our diversity. We are an extremely diverse district. And race, nationality, income, shape, size, everything. We are diverse. We've got 18,000 kids, and we've got 2,000 plus employees. And so when you go to public school in Tyler ISD, you can pretty much be guaranteed you're going to be going with kids that look like you and don't look like you, and come from different backgrounds. And we really celebrate that. And so I mentioned earlier, over the last 20 years, I think it was 2002 maybe, was the first bond to start rebuilding elementary schools. Now we've rebuilt every single building basically in our district, aside from a couple of middle schools. We still got Hogg and Hubbard. But aside from that, about 25 facilities that are modern and safe. So as far as equity goes, I think it's very important that every single kid in the district is going to a safe and modern facility, and they're getting access, I don't care where you are, to the same level of education and the same opportunities as every other kid in the district. So it makes me really happy to say that what we do to promote equity and diversity is we go to school, and we go to public school in Tyler ISD. And that couldn't be said a long time ago. And it makes me happy to say it. And so obviously we teach inclusion in everything, and down to the classroom level. So I'll say that much. I'm happy to speak on that anytime.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to hear that. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, that's awesome. Last question. Just before the holiday break, a local middle school investigated a shooting threat. So what measures are in place across the district to both respond to something like that, and more importantly, provide kids and schools the resources to identify and support students in crisis before an incident occurs?
And I will say I can't speak on a specific issue. However, I will broadly speak on some things. We have, sorry, my phone's ringing in the office. I'm about to go hang it up. It keeps it up. We have really bolstered our safety and security over the last few years by adding school resource officers that are not just probably what we remember growing up, some retired policemen that may not get around real good,
Yeah.
We've actually put some guys in place across the district that have tactical experience, and they look the part. And if you go to some of our schools, you'll see them around. We've also bolstered our safety and security department by putting some ex-FBI guys in place. We've hired guys from the FBI that head up that department. So some of them you might see, others are monitoring the chatter that goes on. So many things are digital now. Right. So we do have some things in place that capture anything on our servers that could indicate whether it's social media chatter or anything else like that can show us where we need to go. And we're prepared and have a response for any sort of situation that might occur. Those guys are trained for it. On the student end of things, socio-emotional is an ever-growing part of our children's lives these days. And so much of it has to do with the phones and the apps and the online stuff So we've actually added, with some of the COVID money that we talked about earlier, we've added some positions for socio-emotional issues, and to help our counselors deal with that. And on the student end, we always preach, if you see something, say something, because we have to depend on each other, and we have to depend on the kids to let us know what's going on in the peer group. So we always preach, if you see something, say something. And I can say that, you know, they've been pretty good about that from the reports I get anyway. So.
Okay, well, we've gotten through all of our questions, but I wanted to offer you the opportunity to say anything that you would like.
Well, I'm just proud to serve where I do. I don't get the opportunity really. Like I said earlier, I'm not a real political person. I've never really had to jump into the political fray, so I don't necessarily always get the opportunity to come and speak to groups like this. And so I just appreciate the invite, and I'm always happy to brag on Tyler ISD. I am so happy to live where I do, and I'm so happy to have grown up here. It is home, and it's where my heart is. And I just really want to let everybody know that we appreciate the support we get when we get it in the community. As a board, you face a lot of scrutiny, and I hope that the public realizes that we want what's best for every kid in Tyler ISD, and that's where it starts with us. So
if somebody wanted to contact you, they have the option, I guess, of going to the school district meetings, board meetings.
Yeah.
Which, can you tell us when those are held and where? And then also, is there a way they could email you or be in touch with you? Is it through the website?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. On our website, we have all of our email addresses. And I do want to say this for anybody watching. I know we're elected in 7 different single member districts, but once we're elected to the board, we serve every kid of Tyler ISD, no matter what district we live in. And we all have that view. And so emailing the entire board is always okay. As far as meetings go, we meet publicly twice a month. Once is in a workshop setting, midday. Those are usually on Thursdays at 11 a.m. All of our meetings take place at the Tyler complex, which is on Glenwood there, and close to, I don't know the actual address, but Glenwood and Robertson, somewhere right in there, in Vine, I guess. And then once a month we have our big evening meeting. And that's usually on Mondays. So we don't have one today, but we have one next Monday. And those are in the same place. And they start at, we have executive sessions starting at 6, and then the regular portion starts at 7. So, and we always have public comment. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, of course, I really do appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a good day.
We will. And this will be posted on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. Well, good deal. I'll try not to read the comments.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.